Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. Glad to have you today. I want to talk a little bit about leadership. Leadership is such an important role. Leadership goes a long ways in making the wheels of life turn. Yeah, leadership is very, very important. As they used to say whenever I was a boy, that's what makes the mare trot. That's what keeps the mare trotting. Now, on leadership, one would think about giving orders. Far from it. Far from it. Contrary to what some think, you can, as a leader, give orders. But that's, of course, the extreme. But some would think of giving orders all the time. No, the key is you've already, when you're doing the job and doing the work or making the plans or whatever, you've already led people into being willing to cooperate. It takes very little instructions when people have pride about the job that they're doing. They want to do it right. So whenever people get willing to cooperate, that makes it to where a leader does not have to be a boss with a loud voice. You know, it's kind of like an orchestra leader. He gets up and he moves his arms and he gets this group do this group do this, someone else join in on another instrument, and someone else on another instrument. And he does it in such a way. He leads them into being a part of a whole. But I want to tell you now, to be a leader, it's like, here again, the orchestra leader, he has to turn his back towards the crowd. He has to turn his back towards the crowd to get the job done. So many times they'll be telling, if everyone tried to lead the orchestra, if everyone said what to do, there would be no continuity. You wouldn't ever get it done. And you'd have the violins playing when they wanted to play, and the other string instruments playing when they wanted to play, and the horns playing when they wanted to. No, the leader stands and lifts his arms, and everyone is willing to cooperate and get the job done. You know, I had a friend, a pastor at a church up in Canada, and he was quite a guy. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed working with him and preaching for him, speaking for him. And he was a mild-mannered person, seemingly, and he had a young man in there that Well, he wasn't able to do a lot of things, but one thing he could do, he could lead songs. And the pastor would always tell old Billy Boy, now Billy Boy, you sing 2 songs. You can lead 2 songs. And he would lead 2 songs. But one week the pastor had to be gone. And he left someone else to preach, fill the pulpit. And he left Billy Boy to lead some songs, lead his 2 songs. Well, Billy Boy had a different idea. He sang about 15 or 16 songs. And the congregation was wore out. And they were at the end of their endurance. And so the speaker that he had left, the pastor had left, had to tell him, and the congregation had told him about what Billy Boy, how he had acted. And so the pastor didn't say anything. And it come service time, and he hadn't said anything. Well, Billy Boy got to feeling his oats from leading the 15 or 16 songs. And when it got 2 songs through, he started to lead another, and the pastor came up and was going to ask him to move, and he kind of elbowed the hand and arm of the pastor. So the pastor just went and sat down, and he sang more songs. Well, when it was all over, the pastor, everyone was gone, and the pastor went back to his office, sitting in his office, and Billy Boy came in. And when Billy Boy came in, the pastor grabbed him and threw him down on the floor and sat on him. And Billy Boy got to begging for mercy. You gonna ever do that anymore, Billy Boy? No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. Well, that's, I guess, I guess you would say that's extreme leadership. But nevertheless, it actually worked. You know, there's one thing about leadership that people don't realize. A leader has to learn to give orders. Well, you'd think anybody could give orders. You hear people that don't know what they're talking about giving orders. No. There's an art in giving orders. You give orders in such a way that a person still has some dignity left. You know, a person that has bought in, a person that feels a part, and someone that feels good about his ability to give to the project. You can suggest in just the right way. Well, instead of saying you're doing it wrong, you can say maybe have you ever thought about doing it this way? Let's look at this for just a moment. And most sane people will say, I see what you talk about. And you have not stripped anyone of any dignity. Yes, sometimes it's important to learn to give orders. God bless.